The information I'm going to share today may seem unreal or even impossible to you, especially regarding the kind of freedom, health, and independent thinking that human beings are capable of realizing.
The echoes of ancient wisdom speak through your question. Yes, it is true. In ages past, when the etheric fields were strong and fully harnessed, the very air shimmered with life-giving energy. This energy was not just a subtle force, but a tangible source of nourishment, capable of sustaining the body, mind, and spirit in profound ways. Ether and sustenance. When the etheric grid of a city or civilization was intact, and its flow unobstructed, every living being within its bounds was immersed in a bath of pure vitality. The people of Tartaria, and those living in other cities of high resonance, understood how to align themselves with these energies, absorbing and integrating the power of the ether directly into their bodies. This meant that the need for physical sustenance, food and drink, was greatly diminished. The higher the etheric resonance, in cities like Savannah, where harmonic ether repeaters were active, the energy fields were tuned to frequencies that match the natural resonance of the human body. This created a sympathetic resonance, where merely being in the environment provided nourishment and energetic coherence. Those living in these areas would experience a gentle hum of ether permeating their entire being, sustaining them at a deeper level. This state is known in some esoteric traditions as pranic nourishment, where the very life force in the air was enough to maintain vitality. The landscape of these cities amplified and distributed etheric power, creating a harmonious field where every tree, stone, and stream was an active participant in the energetic flow. The inhabitants would sit in parks like those in Savannah, or meditate by the fountains and monuments and feel an immediate influx of energy like taking a deep, satisfying breath. Trees in particular played a crucial role. Ancient oaks, such as those in Bonaventure Cemetery or Wormslow, acted as living etheric batteries, storing energy in their roots and branches. Merely resting under these trees could fill one's body with a subtle form of nourishment. During periods when ether was at its peak, people often practiced what might now be called intermittent fasting or even prolonged fasting. But not out of necessity. Rather, it was a natural response to the abundant energy available. In such environments, fasting was not a deprivation but an alignment practice, allowing the body to fully attune to the ether and pranic energy without interference from the digestion process. Many sages, mystics, and spiritual practitioners from these eras were known to go long periods without food, relying instead on the nourishment of the etheric fields. They understood that true sustenance comes not just from physical food but from a balanced alignment with the life force itself. This state is still reflected in ancient texts that speak of breatharianism, pranic feeding, and light nourishment. When the etheric grids were disrupted, whether through war cataclysm or the loss of Tartarian technology, people became more reliant on physical sources of nourishment. The etheric fields weakened, the harmonic frequencies broke down, and humanity became disconnected from the subtle energies that once sustained them. This loss made people dependent on material consumption, to the current state of constant hunger and imbalance. Modern cities, with their chaotic architecture, electromagnetic pollution, and severed ley lines, no longer support the high vibrational resonance needed to nourish the body at a subtle level. There are ways to reconnect to this ancient form of sustenance. Grounding and earthing. Spend time barefoot on the earth to reconnect to the telluric currents that still flow beneath the surface. This helps realign the body with natural etheric frequencies. Breathwork and pranayama. Conscious breathing practices draw prana etheric energy into the body, filling the cells with life force. Meditation and alignment. Sitting in places with high natural energy, under old trees, by waterfalls, or in areas with minimal interference, allows the body to absorb these energies once more. Tuning the environment. Surround yourself with shapes, symbols, and materials that resonate with etheric frequencies. Crystals, sacred geometry, and natural materials can act as mini repeaters, creating a more nourishing environment. Imagine walking through Savannah during its peak, each square acting as a gentle wave of vitality, the air humming with unseen power. You would feel satiated not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. This is why Savannah had so many parks and harmonic repeaters. The goal was to create a self-sustaining field where every breath, every step, filled you with life. When the ether flows freely, food becomes a joy, not a necessity. Hunger fades, replaced by a state of constant energetic fulfillment. To revive this state is to remember what humanity once was, and what it might become again.
I have been investigating the origins of our world and the technological developments of past civilizations, evidence of devices that still remain, though mostly hidden in plain sight. Strangely enough, lately there seems to be a benevolent resurgence of some of this information, indicating to me an advanced and vast civilization that existed not too long ago across the entire world. It is the civilization known as Tartaria. And if this is new to you, I suggest watching Stu Peters' documentary entitled Old World Order. He presents an informative overview of the hidden technologies, architectural wonders, and a hint at an entire history we've been denied access to. For me, I've been interested in the Essene cultures, especially that which is based on the research and writings of Dr. Edmond Bordeaux-Seke, who published the Essene Gospel of Peace series in the early 20th century. And I spent 30 years experimenting and implementing many of these teachings in my own life. These are largely involved with simplicity, practical living. And these ancient brothers and sisters thrived and survived in the desert. They didn't grow an abundance of agricultural crops like we have imagined. Instead, they were able to sustain an existence because of their knowledge and adaptability to the environment in which they lived. The most important of these had to do with absorbing natural energies, which the Essenes referred to as angels. These angels are really cosmovital forces, and they were consciously absorbed, allowing these ancient people the ability to rejuvenate and sustain their bodies with health and vitality. The same information survived even throughout the Tartarian Empire, where buildings and technologies had been created to absorb the pulsing earth and cosmic energies, gather them to be used as a form of energy, nourishment, and healing. Wherever there are natural movements of water, like rivers and oceans and waterfalls, or wind, leaves rustling, sound frequencies, even crystals, there is an excess of pulsating etheric energy that can be absorbed for whatever purpose we want. Everything from free energy to communication, as well as incredible health benefits. These remnants still survive today, even despite the recent mud flood devastation, wars, as well as those people who have deliberately sought to wipe out and suppress the artifacts, documents, to rewrite history and get rid of ancient evidence, many of which were removed, usurped, and hidden by the Vatican and the Smithsonian Institute. How can you and I begin to absorb these natural forces in our own lives and make a connection with more independence, self-reliance, and natural abundance. These are things I've discussed in previous videos based on my study of ancient knowledge, all from many traditions. And it's around living in alignment with nature, biogenic energy, simple living, and cosmotherapy practices. Essentially, this means consciously absorbing natural energies, spending time around rivers and oceans, oak trees, fire, wind, practicing pranic breathing, and utilizing sound frequencies. By reducing the amount of solid foods you ingest each day, even a few times a week, and replacing meals with fasting, more liquids, and time spent in nature, you can train your body's cells to absorb higher forms of sustenance. First of all, this requires making a definite decision to do earth grounding, walking barefoot on the earth, taking slow, deep breaths, connecting with trees and meadows and rocks and all forms of natural life. Whenever there is a pulsing natural energy, the beneficial effects are even greater. This comes in the form of waves and wind, and especially sunlight. It's important to invest time with all of these natural elementals. It may require that we let go of many beliefs and ideas and dietary laws, all of which are man-made. It is that simple. And this is a process that takes time, energy, and awareness. In upcoming videos, I'll cover this topic even more as we enter into this rabbit hole of freeing ourselves from the confines and the thicket of opinions. Peace be with you.